Buddha of bombers. There are more cluster bombs than people in Laos. They stopped falling the year I was born. America left soon after. The other day, a young woman I know saw people turning war scrap into fashionable bracelets. No one considers turning them into statues of Buddha. Recycling only goes so far out here. A third of those who die every year are under 12, caught in the hot, swift center of flame and shrapnel, dormant for nearly 4 decades. Most of their parents weren't even born when these lethal leftovers were dropped. In America, my nieces sing, "London Bridge is falling down." In Laos, my nieces sing songs not to touch the bombers. My new next-door neighbor is an old F-105 pilot. My father picked up from the Hanoi Hilton. He knows my country well. But we don't have much to talk about, except our gardens. My cousin flew into Afghanistan at the start of a new war. We haven't spoken in years. I look at the pictures of hell in my mother's temple near Modesto. It's a new year, and young children run with toy guns sold to them by a vendor who could care less about karma and history. Our monks bless every living thing in sight, hoping it will do some good for a change. Cameos. People would be surprised how often you truly show up in these poems of mine among various fantasies of lost civilizations and tongues, or words for beauty and justice for a wondrous era yet to come, on worlds vast light years from Gutrin Draconis or Orion, where perhaps Lao outdid everyone by surprise after all, despite that shaky start since Dien Bien Phu in a galaxy far away, for an alternate timeline no one recalls. And you never recognize yourself in the tiny corner of these verses, or the moment we shared in a brief lifetime in that city we almost dared call home. Yua tells me a story of the Hatibachi, how she went to Laos to see her lucky sisters for the first time in 2 decades, since the country has loosened up enough to let tourists like us in. "Isn't it beautiful?" she asked me, then says she gave her sister Maylee $50 to help her family. When Yua returned to the Twin Cities, she learned her sister had been murdered for the money by Maylee's ex-husband, who'd heard of their family reunion and thought the cash rightfully belonged to him. "Did you give your relatives anything?" she asked. "Yes," I replied, $500, but they say they need more to get to America. Idle fears. In the shade of the California Wat Lao, I debate with Ajahn Anan what the secret Rakshasa Sutra must really look like. In Lao, we call them yak. It depends. When they're hungry, what do names matter? I ask, does a zombie have Buddha nature? He informs me the mindless craving for brains complicates things. He suspects Frankenstein's monster is closer to nirvana, but don't quote him on that. An American werewolf in Luang Prabang would stand no chance against a real Lao were-tiger. Both should still try to observe the 5 precepts as best they can. If he was going to make a Vat, especially for robots, he might name it Vat Lao Robobuddharam, but they would surely have to learn to get beyond artificial binary worldviews. "You aren't going to turn this into a poem, are you?" he asks. "That's nothing to be afraid of," I inform him. Usually. Interesting times. Ajahn pulled me aside one saffron morning after the chanting with a secret he wanted to share, like a war in the tropics. If Americans visit Laos, they'll never be president. Just ask Hubert Humphrey, Hillary Clinton, Ross Perot, David Duke, and John Kerry. My memory is fuzzy, but I also suspect John McCain. Obama was already president when he went, so that doesn't count, but we can watch to see what legacy remains. It won't necessarily be emails or Benghazi, swift boats, or an obscure faux pas skipping flyover country like the Motor City. But the ghosts of Lanchan have a habit of doing in even your most elaborate political machinations. That's a weird way to dissuade tourists and sexpats. We do what we can against corruption and extinction, fallen skies and blind ambition. He asked me to explain Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men, a tattered copy someone left behind a lifetime ago. We all might as well have been east of Eden. Gel. Goes in hot, comes out hot. but this may be more than the casual student will want to know. Mom's grinding chilies for me in Modesto, red, green, a dash of fresh cilantro, fermented shrimp sauce and a pinch of salt between her mortar and pestle. Dabbing a sticky ball of carnel in the tiny ceramic saucer, I know. She's a sorceress in the kitchen, trying to find a way to say she loves me, hoping my prodigal tongue is still Lao enough to understand what her broken English cannot convey. My eyes are cisterns of tears after 30 years. I should say Macbeth and grab some cold milk, but with a smile through the pain I stammer, Supply me. Delicious, Mom. Supply. Hak me. Lai. Don't talk. Just eat, she says, between her tears. Notes regarding the living heart. A single seed can turn into a forest. A single heart can transform a nation. To be brave is Jaika. To be generous is Jaikwan. To test the body, climb a mountain. To test the soul, meet another. To find happiness, meet as strangers, but don't stay that way. With a sub-ID, greet the days, one by one. With a cup chai and a smile, do what you can to change worlds, even 1 inch, one hand at a time. That is the path of Vijay, human and forever growing. I tell you, this is the last word for this war, this little side war we were the center of. There is no justice from poetry. Any veteran can tell you that. They want their land, their lives, their livestock back. Grenade fishing in the aftermath of the battle for Fruit Hati has lost its novelty to the man with a bullet fragment rattling in his body, slowly tearing him apart. Right, you tell me. Right what? We lost. We were forgotten. We are ghosts. We are victims of fat tigers and foreign policy. There is no Valhalla, only memories of spectre gunships. There is no Elysium, only pleas for asylum. This jungle was filthy. There was shit. There was blood. There were refugees who to this day cannot explain why they were the enemy when the war came. Their sons fought. Their brothers died. Their uncles, maimed, were hauled, screaming in the shadows of a plain of jars. Right, they tell me, so people won't forget, so someone will know. Lift the broken bodies with my words, bring them out and say, we did not die in vain. For every bullet hole, let there be a word to stand as a monument. For every lost limb, let there be a sonnet to stitch the truth back together. For every eye gone blind, let there be something to take its place. Something. Anything. How can you not have words for the war of whispers? How can you not shout, now that the whispering is done? And I swear, each time I break this promise, that the next time will be the last word I write about this damn war.